officially to both of you. Great to have you here tonight. Really interesting chat we had there about death. So tonight we're going to build on that and talk about the antidote to death, which is a miracle. So what's involved in a miracle? What is a miracle? This is the new insert that we're doing. We'll do a course lesson related to that theme of miracles, and let's dive in to start with to our email with a daily quote to kick it off. So I'm just going to share my screen. Kim, if you can read that headline quote for us kindly to kick it off.
All miracles mean life, and God is the giver of life. His voice will direct you very specifically. You will be told all you need to know.
This is from Principles of Miracles, which is the first chapter of the text of A Course in Miracles. So it starts off with miracles and defining what a miracle is. It tells us what miracles mean. Yeshua does. They bring with them an awareness of life with a capital L itself, which is the same as God, or if you prefer alternative alter ego terminology for God, pure formless awareness of perfect love or oneness. These are all synonymous. And this is the awareness that is the giver of life, right? Awareness and life are synonymous because awareness is the essential component of all life forms, without which they would not exist at all. If they had no awareness, they couldn't exist. So whatever else is going on in their minds, thoughts, emotions, there's physical processes going, there's a lot going on, but there must be a fundamental essence and awareness that gives them life. And this life essence is what all the ancient teachings, ancient spiritual paths talk about as the essence of God. So to experience this universal awareness for yourself right now, a little bit more deeply, we're going to read this translated version of the quote, just slowly, contemplatively, to help you understand it more deeply by feeling the life essence to which it points in you. So Elaine, if you can do the honors on that one, just read it really slowly. If you're not reading it, Kim, close your eyes and just really try and connect in with what it's pointing you to within yourself. Right? Remember, the words are just pointers or signposts to what's in your own mind and in your own awareness already.
All corrections mean life, and pure formless awareness of perfect love is the giver of life. Its voice will direct me very specifically, and I will be told all I need to know.
So miracles are translated as corrections. Corrections mean the correction of the error of sacrifice, suffering, pain, and death, which are the opposite of life, for life. You're bringing this very essence of life, which is the same as pure formless awareness of perfect love, that is the very essence or the giver of life, back into your mind. You're inviting, the miracle invites that awareness back into your mind. And then from that awareness, there's a voice. That doesn't mean that it's speaking to you in words, but there is guidance, there is a message, there is a thought that comes from the voice that will direct you very specifically, and you'll be told all you need to know. So if you need to know something, if you need to speak something, if you need to act on something, then that will unfold from this awareness. And this voice is called the Holy Spirit, which is the remembrance of this awareness, which is life. And so people kind of go, what's the Holy Spirit? It's all very mystical, but it's not actually. It's just a remembrance of your very basic, most fundamental awareness that is still there, but has been covered over by a bunch of thoughts and emotions that mean nothing and don't really exist. And that bunch of thoughts and emotions that mean nothing and don't really exist is the ego, or the separate self. Okay, so as today's mind training lesson from workbook lesson 345 says, miracles are also the corrections of our misperceptions. Okay, so Elaine, if you can read that.
Yeah.
In fact, one of you, maybe Kim, read the original and Elaine read the alternative, because there's two components to it.
I offer only miracles today, for I would have them be returned to me.
I offer only corrections today, for I want the blessings these bring me.
Yeah, and maybe the alternative just helps you understand that, the idea of miracles. Corrections as miracles is a very helpful idea. I think a lot of people get confused about what miracles are. When I started A Course in Miracles, I thought a miracle was the things that Jesus did. Walking on water, turning water into wine, healing the sick, raising the dead, etc. That's what and I thought, Course in Miracles is great. I'd like to do that stuff. And my ego got quite excited about that because, I'm going to have all this power to do these amazing things. But that's not really what a miracle is, as it took me about 10 years to learn. Some of us are a bit slow on the uptake. It's really just a correction of your thinking. It's a correction in your mind. It's a change of mind that you offer to the world, to any situation that arises when there's an incorrect perception. You can always correct it. That's the true miracle. And when you do that, then often blessings come to you in unexpected ways. Things show up that may be seemingly unrelated, but we've all had these experiences where, say, you treat a stranger kindly, you give something, and then, hey, suddenly someone does that to you, and you get some kindness towards you. It happens quite a lot with money. You give money out. If you do it in a spirit of giving and generosity, and then often it comes back in a different way. Suddenly you get some money coming in and you didn't expect it. We've all had these experiences. These are the blessings that this lesson is talking about. It's also, it works on a number of levels actually. So let's go into the integral model. I think that might be useful just to show you the different levels of miracles. So where are we? Integral model. This explains it quite well. So you've got, the four quadrants, subjective, I experience. So this is the domain of thoughts, emotions, memories, perceptions. And this is where the correction really happens. Of course, is saying correction can only be made here, not just here. If you're just trying to correct behavior, that's not really a miracle. The correction must come in your mind, but then that can be reflected in the objective external reality that you then experience. So you change your mind and then something shows up to reflect that, to show you that, yes, maybe you've gone to a higher level. You've jumped one of these bars, let's say, and you've gone from a more mind-oriented level and you went up a couple of notches because you let go, and now you're at a higher energy level and things change accordingly. And that's reflected in your circumstances and your experience. So that's the external aspect of the miracle. So blessings happen internally because you feel more peaceful, more loving, more joyful, more connected. But the blessings can also happen externally as a reflection of that inner change of mind. So the miracle then extends rather than projects out into the world, and it shows you blessings that seem to be miraculous, that seem to be like extraordinary, that you can't really explain. And we've all had those experiences, and those are demonstrations that there has actually been some kind of fundamental change of mind. So as within, so without, and then the without confirms that, yes, something of significance happened internally, and that reinforces that change of mind. And your mind then goes, oh, okay, so this actually worked. I did this, and I'm connecting the dots, and I see now the blessing showing up in whatever form in my external world. And that reinforces that change of mind was a good thing. And so I should do more of that. So it's a positive reinforcement cycle as opposed to the ego's reinforcement cycle, which is negative. We do something wrong, incorrect thought, emotion, memory, and perception, and then that leads to feedback projected out. We get the feedback, the pain, the suffering, the sickness, the death, something that's not a miracle, and then that reinforces in our mind that that state of mind that gave birth to it, that projected it, is correct and true. Oh well, then obviously yes, fear is justified. Then guilt is justified because look, I'm being punished for my apparent sin. Then anger is justified because look, everyone's against me and the world is treating me unfairly, and so on and so on. And you're going to use this mechanism either positively or negatively. Of course, it's suggesting the positive approach, I think that's the miracle, as opposed to the negative approach, which is the ego's pain and suffering drama, which is just designed to reinforce the negative state of mind. So you're either going to use this model positively or negatively. You can't stay neutral. It's going to be one or the other. You're either going to be reinforcing the ego or you're going to be reinforcing spirit. And the ego is saying, reinforce the Holy Spirit and your true self or Christ by through the miracles, changing your mind, and then be aware of what's going on around you, because those can reinforce that change of mind. Okay. Does that all make some kind of sense, I hope?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's actually quite simple and straightforward, but we have to continuously be aware that this feedback mechanism is continuously happening. It's always happening. Just by the fact that you're thinking, you are putting things out into the world. Just by the act of having thoughts and emotions and memories and a state of mind and perceptions, you are automatically projecting or extending that into the world, and then that is going to have manifest results on some level, and things are going to show up in your life on this seemingly objective level of the material body, and even in the interobjective, that's collective systems and networks and so on. Things are going to show up as a result of that change of mind. People who really, have excelled at this, the great masters and teachers of the world, and even, particularly evil people like, say, Hitler, have managed to extend their thoughts and emotions, their inner state, and they've managed to extend that out into the interobjective. And so their mindset then creates whole patterns of behavior. Remember, this is behavior here on an individual level. This is collective behavior. Creates this collective pattern of behavior, which then has significantly changed the world, because when thousands, millions of people change behavior, that becomes noticeable. And if that becomes entrenched as some kind of pattern of behavior, we call it a system. And now, the way society works is now different. And, we've seen that people do have the power to do that. Jesus profoundly changed the world. The Buddha, some of these, the great spiritual masters, profoundly changed the world through extending their inner state. They found this peace of God that surpasses all understanding, and they've managed to extend it to individuals to start with, but then that started to spread in some kind of movement, and it started to change many people's minds and start to change the interobjective reality. So, think what happened with Christianity. It became really de facto the governing system of humanity for 1,000 years. Once Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire in 325 AD, that pretty much set Christianity's reign as a governing thought system for a large part of humanity, certainly in Europe, for over 1,000 years. And that then changed this interobjective reality, and there was a system that we called the church that then governed society, and then and the Renaissance, all of that was challenged and overthrown, and another system came into being, and now we're in the product of that system, that change of mind that started 500 years ago in the Renaissance has now become systematized, and now we're living in the systems that are the effect of that change of mind. So this stuff is very, very helpful, very practical to understand how the world works, how it's all interconnected, and how our mindset and our so-called objective reality are really integrally connected. You can't separate them. Your inner world and your outer world are direct reflections of each other. Well, this is a reflection of the inner world, and then the outer world feeds back to the inner world and affects it until you're totally awakened. There's going to be a feedback loop, and it's going to reinforce. There's a reinforcement loop going on. It's going to reinforce those thoughts and emotions that gave birth to the experience that you had, which then manifests in an experience, and that reinforces the thoughts and emotion, the state of mind that gave birth to it. And so round and round we go. You can see how you could just get caught endlessly in this loop and not really know what's going on. And that's, of course, the illusion of the ego, just doing that over and over and over again, not really understanding what goes on, and then eventually you die and you reincarnate and you come back and you do it all over again. And that's why it's called a cycle of birth and death, and many of the spiritual teachings, a trap. Okay, so these misperceptions stem from the false beliefs about ourselves, that others in the world, that are in turn based on the false idea of separation. So therefore, the correction of these false perceptions and beliefs always reconnects us with the source of our awareness and life itself, from which come blessings such as authentic happiness, deep inner peace, joyful flow, sense of higher purpose, unconditional love. And if you do all of that, I'd call that true success, right? If you're happy and peaceful, you live in a state of joyful flow with life and the world, you have a sense of higher purpose, you have unconditional love in your heart for all beings, this is a successful life. We call it an awakened life, an enlightened life, and which is to live in an extraordinary way in your ordinary daily life. Okay? So the extraordinary ordinary, I call it. And that's what awakening is. You're still living in the world, but now you're happy in the world. You're happy in a world where there's so much misery and seeming unhappiness. That is fairly extraordinary, to be able to maintain a state of peace and happiness and higher purpose and unconditional love in a world like this. That's a fairly extraordinary life, which is why enlightenment is extraordinary, and why we've been called to an extraordinary level of forgiveness, of discipline, to attain what is quite an extraordinary accomplishment. Okay, so I think let's dive in from this. It's a good starting point for the insert on what is a miracle, because that's what we've been talking about. So let's go into that. It's 5 paragraphs, and then there's a lesson which builds on that, talking about miracles and how they are returned to us, which is, again, the law of giving and receiving. We've looked at that many times. Okay, so let's jump in then, shall we? Just give me a moment. Just going to get that going. We don't want 346, we want 345. There we go. What is a miracle? Okay, so let's start off with paragraph 1 in answer to the question, what is a miracle? So Kim, if you want to read the original,
Okay.
sentence by sentence, then Elaine comes in with the alternative after you've said the original. Kindly.
Okay. What is a miracle? A miracle is a correction.
A miracle is a correction.
It does not create nor really change at all.
It does not extend nor really change at all.
It merely looks on devastation and reminds the mind that what it sees is false.
It merely looks on devastation and reminds the mind that what it perceives is false.
Okay, next one, Kim, number 4.
It undoes error, but does not attempt to go beyond perception nor exceed the function of forgiveness.
It undoes error, but does not attempt to go beyond perception nor exceed the function of letting go.
Thus it stays within time's limits.
And so it stays within time's limits.
Number 6. Kim, you're struggling to stay awake. Shall I read?
So, okay, wait. Yet it paves the way for the return of tirelessness and love's awakening, for fear must slip away under the gentle remedy it brings.
Yet it paves the way for the return of eternity and my awakening to love, for my fear must slip away under the gentle remedy it brings. And from the top, a miracle is a correction. It does not extend nor really change at all. It merely looks on devastation and reminds the mind that what it perceives is false. It undoes error, but does not attempt to go beyond perception nor exceed the function of letting go. And so it stays within time's limits. Yet it paves the way for the return of eternity and my awakening to love, for my fear must slip away under the gentle remedy it brings. It's just saying that a miracle is a correction. It doesn't extend or change. It just looks on devastation and reminds the mind that what it perceives is false.
I think that's a really important point. So let me just come in there, because it's not creative in the sense of, oh, a miracle is I'm going to create things, I'm going to manifest things. And so that's a fundamental misunderstanding in the New Age movement. A lot of people think that that's what a miracle is. It's really just a change of mind. I'll give you an example of this. I was listening to it's a free YouTube video by a guy called Joe Vitale. He's on The Secret. You've probably heard of him. Ho'oponopono. He got into studying Ho'oponopono under Dr. Hugh Len. We've talked about Ho'oponopono. And so he's going around interviewing various practitioners of this Ho'oponopono method. And I was pretty shocked. This lady's like, well, I wanted to go deep sea fishing. I'm like, okay, where's this leading? And so I'm doing Ho'oponopono on the marlin that I'm trying to catch. And then guess who caught the marlin? I catch it, and then she shows a picture of this, gigantic blue marlin that she's caught. And she's going, oh, wow, isn't this really good? That I've caught a marlin using this forgiveness technique called Ho'oponopono. So I'm going, you just don't get it. You're not understanding forgiveness at all. Or you think that forgiveness is about manifesting something on the level of form, and worse, you're actually killing a sentient being, right? That marlin would have suffered and struggled for hours and hours before it died. And so how can you say that that has got anything to do with radical forgiveness or love? But you see how people misunderstand it. And oh, this is miraculous, and isn't it so cool? And Joe Vitale's going along with it. I'm going, no. These people are lost. They have no idea what a miracle really is, what love really is. And it's being used, actually what can be a very powerful forgiveness technique. It's being used now to manifest and create something that the ego mind thinks is desirable. And that's not what a miracle is at all. That is just the ego's misuse of the mind for more false manifestation, to get it more attached into the dream. Aren't I so clever? Because now I can create so-called miracles on the level of form, and I can get what I want by using this technique. Okay, so really important that we distinguish that false forgiveness, false sense of what a miracle is, from the truth, which is really just a correction that looks on devastation. I love that. It just looks on devastation and reminds the mind that what it perceives is false. So whatever the devastation that the ego has miscreated in this world. And, we frequently present it with these devastating circumstances, such as death. We've all had death come into our lives in the last month or so. That's devastation. The miracle just reminds us that what we're perceiving is just false. It doesn't really exist. Death doesn't really exist. There is no separation. There is no sickness. There's no suffering. There's no death. None of it's really true. It's all just false. And that's not creative in any creative sense. It's just an undoing of that which is false. Okay. Sorry, Elaine. Carry on. Number 4 then.
Yeah, just as I summarised what about it being false, and it's just paving the way to return to eternity and awakening to who we are, which is love, not fear.
So the miracle is this process of correcting our minds and letting go of the false beliefs and the misperceptions they cause. So it's an undoing. It's not creating anything in the positive sense. It's an undoing of that which is false, to clear that away and then reveal what was just been covered over, what was always true. Very important point. Again, I'll emphasize, very opposite to the personal growth movement, which is why I think these people struggled so much, because they've grown up in this personal growth movement of, okay, it's all about creating something more, adding to yourself, becoming more. And this technique is going to add to you by allowing you to do more, to have more, to experience more. All this is great from a personal growth perspective. But the forgiveness is an opposite perspective. It says, no, this is actually about being less. Hugh Land talked about zero limits, going to zero. You take the mind back to zero, i.e., get rid of all that rubbish that you filled your mind with and go back to a state of zero, which is infinite and eternal. But it doesn't really marry very well with the growth mindset, does it? Because growth is about adding something more to myself, becoming something more. Forgiveness is about becoming less and letting go of the false self. And they are really quite opposite processes. And I think so that's where that confusion comes in. And you can't really reconcile them. If you want to Google it and you go on YouTube and you search for Joe Vitale movie, watch it, because you'll see that sort of, it doesn't sit well. That contradiction is there all the time. And it's like it's not. I watched it for half an hour and then I gave up. I was like, okay, I can just see these people don't get it. But it's because they're trying to marry these two opposite thought systems together, and you can't really. It's one or the other. And then it's a letting go of wanting to manifest anything. So if something happens by grace, then that's a genuine miracle. Okay, you let go. You didn't have an expectation. Something shows up. That's then the miracle on the level of form. That's the miracle showing up in the external world, as we saw here in the right-hand side of these quadrants, in objective or inter-objective reality. If it's happened without your intention, then it's a miracle. If it happened because you wanted it to happen, because you intended it to happen, then it's conscious manifestation. And that's very different. That's now the ego saying, I want this. Well, why do you want it? Because you think that that's going to increase your status, that's going to make you into a happier, separate self, and that's a good thing. And of course, that then just perpetuates the illusion that something outside of you can actually affect your state of mind. You get it? You see why you can't reconcile these. You got to choose. It's one or the other. And why the ego's version of this is never going to work. Okay. Happy to go on to number 2.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
switch it. Elaine, if you read the original, Kim the alternative. Kindly.
A miracle contains the gift of grace, for it is given and received as one.
A correction contains the gift of grace, for it is given and received as one.
And thus it illustrates the law of truth the world does not obey, because it fails entirely to understand its ways.
And so it illustrates the law of truth the word does not obey, because it fails entirely to understand its ways.
A miracle inverts perception, which was upside down before, and thus it ends the strange distortions that were manifest.
Number 3, Kim.
So a correction inverts perception that was upside down before, and so it ends the strange distortions that appeared.
Now is perception open to the truth.
Now my perception is open to the truth.
Now is forgiveness seen as justified.
Now I perceive that my letting go is justified. And from the top, the correction contains the gift of grace, where it is given and received as one. And so it illustrates the law of truth the world does not obey because it fails entirely to understand its ways. A correction inverts perception. It was upside down before, and so it ends the strange distortions that appeared. Now my perception is open to the truth. Now I perceive that my letting go is justified.
Okay, thoughts on that?
So it's a gift. I say it's a gift from grace, and it's like it's basically going, it's going against it's really not like the laws of the world, laws of the illusion. Instead it's the law of truth. So it's an upside down, it turns our perception upside down from, from the kind of the worldly ways of illusion to what's actually truth.
If something
so
is
you actually
upside down,
perceive
then you have to turn it right side up. But if you perceive what is upside down as reality, and this is correct and normal, then it's going to seem like now everything's upside down when you turn it upside down. It's like one of those, what do they call those snow globes, when you turn it all upside down, everything goes up in the air and then takes a while to settle. So when you do the upside down shifting, it can all feel a bit chaotic and turmoil, and things are like flying around. And that's kind of what's happening in your mind with this process of practicing and studying the course. Everything's been turned upside down, and it can feel a bit disorienting. So it's a very normal part of the process. People are like, oh, what's going on? I thought I kind of had my life settled, and now this course is scrambling my brains, and I'm not getting it, and it can feel quite disconcerting. But it's necessary because you've had an upside down thought system. He says actually at some point, when you turn your thoughts an upside, there's no stability in an upside down thought system. You'll never find it there. So you might perceive that this course is causing you distress and disturbing your peace, but it's really just an unstable upside down thought system now being turned right side up and corrected, and there's going to be a bit of fallout from that process in your mind. You're going to experience a bit of discomfort, a bit of chaos, etc. But it's all then part of the awakening process. In fact, is why the awakening process is difficult. If it was all smooth and easy, then there would be no difficulty, but it's not, because you're having to turn everything upside down, and that feels very disconcerting for the ego. I remember when I was going through some kind of awakening, midlife crisis / awakening, it was just like, oh my God, what's going on? The world that I thought I knew, that I thought I had handled on, that I could kind of cope with and manage, is just all disintegrating, and it felt really vulnerable, really insecure, really what's going on? Can I even handle this? Can I get through this? Wanting to just run away from it all. These are common thoughts that happen when you're really going through a proper awakening. It can feel like a crisis, but it's actually a spiritual crisis, and it's an undoing. It's the beginning of the undoing of the ego. So it's a very necessary stage in awakening. Okay. Any thoughts, other thoughts, questions, comments on number 2? Number
That's
3
good.
there. Switch it again.
Letting go is the home of corrections.
Just read the top one, Kim. Forgiveness is the home of
Oh,
miracles.
sorry. Forgiveness is the home of miracles.
Letting go is the home of corrections.
The eyes of Christ deliver them all they look upon in mercy and in love.
Deliver them to all, yeah.
The perception of my true self delivers them to all I perceive in kindness and love.
Number 3.
Perception stands corrected in his sight, and what was meant to curse has come to bless.
My perception stands corrected in its perspective, and what was meant to curse now blesses.
Number 4.
Each lily of forgiveness offers all the world the silent miracle of love.
Each thought of letting go offers the whole world the silent correction of love.
And each is laid before the word of God upon the universal altar to Creator and creation in the light of perfect purity and endless joy.
And in each is laid before the message of perfect love upon the universal foundation to my source and its extension in the awareness of perfect purity and endless joy. And from the top, letting go is the home of corrections. The perception of my true self delivers them to all I perceive in kindness and love. My perception stands corrected in its perspective, and what was meant to curse now blesses. Each thought of letting go offers the whole world the silent correction of love, and each is laid before the message of perfect love upon the universal foundation to my source and its extension in the awareness of perfect purity and endless joy. So just by letting go is the miracle, the home of corrections, and the true self delivers them all with kindness and love. So each thought of letting go offers the world a silent correction of love, and each is laid upon the message of perfect love to this foundation, this universal foundation and source, where there's endless joy.
Yeah, so by letting go of the ego, we discover this source that was always there. And our awareness is restored to this purity and this joy that was always there, but was covered over and obscured by all these misperceptions. So it's a cutting away rather than an adding to. This is about cutting away. It's more a sculpture than a painting. Now, painting, you have a blank canvas and you paint and you create and you add something to it to create the painting. With a sculpture, you have to take away very skillfully and reveal what was already there. And they're fundamentally different processes, aren't they? It's important we understand that, because that's when we understand that, we understand what a miracle really is. It's the cutting away of everything that's false from our mind to reveal the true self that was always there, hidden in the block of marble. So when Michelangelo expressed this very well, and he was asked how he sculpted the David, the most famous sculpture in the world, he said, "Well, I just took away what wasn't David to reveal the essence of David that was already there, because it was. That statue was already in the block of marble. It just needed to be revealed by cutting away everything that wasn't the David." A very true insight. And that's how it works spiritually. We cut away what's not our authentic selves to reveal our true self, the masterpiece that's always been there, but just covered over by all the layers of rubbish that we've used to cover it up. Okay, so hopefully that analogy helps you understand it. Really good one to remember. Okay, happy to go on to number 4.
Mhm.
Miracle is taken first on faith.
The miracle is
If you can read that, can you read the alternative?
the miracle is taken first on faith, because to ask for it implies the mind has been made ready to conceive of what cannot see and does not understand.
Miracles fall like drops of, sorry, I must first accept corrections through faith, because to ask for them implies my mind has been prepared to conceive what it cannot perceive and does not understand.
Yet faith will bring its witnesses to show that what it rested on is really there.
Yeah, number 2. Highlighted. Yeah, there you go.
Yet faith will bring its witnesses to show that what it rested on is really there.
And thus, the miracle will justify your faith in it and show it rested on a world more real than what you saw before, a world redeemed from what you thought was there.
And number 3.
And so each correction will justify my faith in it and show that it has rested on a world more real than what I perceived before, a world transformed from what I thought was there. From
Okay,
the
let's start
top,
at the top.
I must first accept corrections through faith, because to ask for them implies my mind has been prepared to conceive of what it cannot perceive and does not understand. Yet faith will bring its witnesses to show that what it rested on is really there. And so each correction will justify my faith in it and show that it rested on a world more real than what I perceived before, a world transformed from what I thought was there.
Okay, what's he saying in summary?
So if we accept corrections through faith, rather than expecting, like, I suppose, proof or evidence in our minds, we basically say, okay, well, we trust or have faith that the miracle, the correction is doing something that it doesn't necessarily understand. It's not forming the laws of our illusion. But then with the faith, then you actually then see that it's with the experience of the correction, it's revealing what's always been there, and it's like the truth and love and
Yeah, and it shows it,
eternally.
to
Yeah.
go back to integral model, it shows it often in strange and unexpected ways in our experience of the external world. So things show up and we go, oh, wow, that's, I wasn't expecting that. That's pretty miraculous. That's synchronistic. That's amazing. And we've all had those experiences that indicate that there's something else going on. And so those external so-called manifestations that come from the correction of the mind are the external miracles. The correction is the internal miracle. The things that show up in the external world are the external form of the miracle. And both are important. The change of mind is the fundamental correction or miracle. But then this reinforces that, as he says here. It shows us that what we thought was it's a witness to show that what it rested on is really there. Okay? So without miracles, how would you get home? Imagine you changed your mind, you did all this work, and then nothing changed. And you kept, changing your mind and thinking differently, and nothing on the level of form ever changed. You would get disheartened, wouldn't you? You would go, hang on, this isn't working. I've got to give this up because nothing externally is changing. So I'm not getting any feedback from my environment to tell me that I'm on the right track. And the miracle is the feedback from your environment, the world, that's saying, yes, keep going, you're on the right track. It's like a signpost that's saying, keep going, your destination's ahead. We've all had that experience, particularly in South Africa, where it's not very well signposted, where you're going, am I going in the right direction? I don't really know. Days before GPS now, we have sat nav, but let's assume you didn't and your sat nav wasn't working. You'd be like, okay, I haven't seen a sign for 50 kilometers. Am I actually going in the right direction here? So the miracles that show up in the external world are the signposts that say, yep, heaven ahead, keep going, you're going on the right track. And so don't get attached to the miracle, just like you wouldn't get attached to the signpost. You're not going to go, oh, wow, I saw this amazing signpost. It was so incredible. And you go on and on about the signpost. No, it was just helpful at the time to say, look, you're going in the right direction. Keep going, notice it, acknowledge it, and then you move on. And that's really what all the miracle is. So you don't then get caught up in this trap of trying to manifest for the sake of, oh, but I think the external form is important. No, it's just a signpost on the journey. That's really, really useful, telling me I'm going in the right way, but I'm not getting attached to the signposts. Is that understandable? So it's very important you understand the distinction between that and going, oh, but now I'm going to try and use my mind and consciously create a signpost, but it's not just going to be a signpost. It's going to be something that I'm going to want to confirm my reality, to validate, to eulogize, to make really important. I'm going to keep talking about it and keep going back to it. And so I've forgotten it's just a signpost on the journey. And then I forget that there's actually a journey and I'm heading to a much greater destination than the signpost. And that's what manifestation does. That's why it's not a miracle. That's why it's actually just another ego device to prevent us from getting to our destination, which is heaven, out of this world. If we get stuck at a signpost, we're not going to move on with our journey, are we? Okay. So hopefully that's understandable. Any questions on number 4?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like as you say, if we don't have some kind of experience of it in this form, which is something that especially helps you to understand and realize, well, it's going against the laws anyway, so must be something there, rather than nothing happening. You just rely on pure faith alone.
Yeah,
Does
it
help
just
to
wouldn't, without the miracle, it
parenting.
wouldn't be possible to get home and to awaken, because you would never get any feedback from the world and you'd lose faith. You just go, well, it's not working. I try and nothing ever changes. So, it would be a very despairing world then without miracles. We just go, well, nothing ever works. I'm just going to give up. I'll give up all faith. I'll give up hope, and really just try and make the best of a shabby show. And then all you could hope for is some better illusions. More pleasure, more stuff in the world, more special relationships, more of what you value, which is exactly what the ego does. So this gives us faith in something else, that there is actually something else there, and it shows us evidence of that. That's what the miracle is. So it's a signpost on a very significant journey. It's not designed to get you confused and attached to the signpost. It's designed to just, okay, yeah, good. I've seen that, I've clocked it, I've acknowledged it, great. That means I'm on track. Let me keep going. In fact, this motivates me to keep going, to redouble my efforts, to accelerate on my journey, because great, I've seen a great validation that I'm on the right track. That's what the miracle is. Again, conscious manifestation, all of that misses the mark, misses the point, because they don't see it as a signpost. They see it as an end that is valuable in itself, whatever that is, because it then increases the status of the separate self, and the ego values that and says, go and seek that, because this is going to make you feel better, make you happier. But it's just the separate self that's being picked up. And of course, that is eventually going to lead to disappointment, because that isn't sustainable. So when that form is no longer there, then the separate self feels diminished. And then it suffers and goes, oh, I've lost what I value. With a miracle, you can never lose what you value because you didn't value it. You didn't have an expectation. Do you understand? Miracles are like, as he says here, like drops of healing rain. It's not like, oh, I'm valuing the rain, I want to hold on to it. No, we understand rain comes and it goes. And, when it's there, it can be a great blessing and then it goes. No one tries to hold on to it. You don't hold on to the miracle. It just comes and it goes. And you appreciate it for what it is and that it's helpful on the journey. And then you let it go and move on. Okay. So number 5.
Okay. Miracles will fall like drops of healing raining from heaven in a dry and dusty world where starved and thirsty creatures come to die.
Corrections fall like drops of healing rain from the state of pure formless awareness on a dry and dusty world where starved and thirsty creatures come to die.
Now they have water.
Now they have water.
Now the world is green.
Now the world is green.
And everywhere the signs of life spring up to show that what is born can never die and what is life has immortality.
And everywhere the signs of life spring up everywhere to show that what is born can never die, for what has life has immortality. And from the top, corrections fall like drops of healing rain from the state of pure formless awareness on a dry and dusty world where starved and thirsty creatures come to die. Now they have water. Now the world is green, and the signs of life spring up everywhere to show what is born can never die, for what has life has immortality.
What's on that?
It's a nice paragraph. It's nice thought of the healing rain falling down on the state of pure formless awareness, on the world that's dry and dusty and starved, and where creatures are coming to die, and the world's nice and green and watered, and the life is sprung up, showing us that what is born can never die, and life has immortality.
So they give us hope for another world. It reminds us that there is something beyond this world, and that life essence with a capital L is still there. That all is not lost. So really, really important. Without miracles, we'd be lost in the world forever. There'd be no way out. So that's why it's called A Course in Miracles. The miracles show you the way home. They're the signposts that show you the way out of the dream. Which in a dream is, incredibly valuable. So miracles belong in the perceptual realm. They belong in the dream. They're not heaven. They're not eternal. But they are the means, the signposts to eternity. They are the roadmaps, part of the way out of the maze. So they become very, very important while you're trying to find your way out of it. Without the signposts, you wouldn't be able to continue. Okay, so yeah, all good. That's what a miracle is. Hopefully that's clarified it a bit. Let's just read, we won't discuss this, just read the personalized summary, paragraph by paragraph, take a turn each. So Kim, if you read the first, Elaine the second, Kim the third, Elaine the fourth, Kim the key message. That'd be great.
A correction is the gentle undoing of error, reminding my mind that what it perceives as devastation is false. It does not change reality, but remains within the bounds of perception, paving the way for my awakening of love, a gently dissolving fear. And correction brings grace. as it is both given and received as one, illustrating the truth the world fails to understand. It reverses my distorted perception, opening my mind to truth and justifying my letting go.
Okay, so just recapping on what a correction is. That it's a miracle is a correction. It's about letting go. Elaine, if you carry on, letting go is the foundation of all corrections.
Letting go is the foundation of all corrections. Through the perspective of my true self, my perception is transformed, turning what was meant to harm into blessing. Each act of letting go silently offers love's correction to the world, resting on the universal foundation of perfect love, which is pure and boundless in its joy.
Okay, so it's all about letting go, and that restores us to what was covered over by the insanity of the ego, which is pure formless awareness of perfect love and joy.
Faith is required for me to accept corrections, as they call me to trust in what my mind cannot yet perceive, fully understand. Yet my faith will bring evidence of its validity, revealing a reality truer than the distorted world I once believed in. Each correction will strengthen my faith by showing me a liberated, transformed world.
So internally, the changes in mind then reflect in the external, and we see these changes reflected as witnesses to our change of mind, and that reinforces that change of mind was going in the right direction. So it becomes a positive feedback loop, and the more we do that, the higher we go. The more we get the feedback, the more encouraged we are to carry on the journey up these levels, and eventually all the way home out of all illusions and out of all levels, which is, finally when you escape this, what really is a maze. It's quite well shown. You're caught in a maze. You can get caught in these levels. What the miracle does is it bumps you up a level or two, and you can go to another level by letting go. And so you escape whatever the prison is of that particular level of thinking and feeling through the miracle. And the manifestation of it just helps you show that, that this change of mind has actually shifted something that's real, and now you see the manifest effects in the external world. Okay, carry on.
Corrections gently undo error, reversing.
We just got to do number 4, which is Elaine, I think.
Oh.
Corrections flow like healing rain.
Corrections flow like healing rain on a parched and lifeless world, bringing renewal and sustenance. What seemed destined to die now flourishes with life. The world is refreshed, and signs of eternal life appear, confirming that whatever truly lives is immortal. In this way, corrections awaken me to the eternal love and life that are my true inheritance.
Yeah. So nice analogy. Corrections are like rain. Really important. Yeah, if you're in a desert and you have no water, you're going to die. So it's a good analogy. Without the corrections, you wouldn't have any hope in this world. We'd all just die. The miracles of corrections are very important because they show us that there's something beyond the illusion of suffering and death, and they refresh us. We realize that there is actually this eternal, immortal source of life that we can tap into, and that is actually guiding us on our journeys, and that gives us an immense amount of hope. All right, and then Kim, if you can just read the key message to wrap it all up.
Corrections gently undo error, reversing my false perceptions and opening my mind to truth beyond through letting go. They bring me grace, renewed faith, and transform the world, offering love's silent blessing to everyone. Like healing rain, corrections restore life, to the seemingly lifeless world of illusion, revealing the eternal love, joy, and self that are my true reality and inheritance to me.
Yeah, thoughts on that?
This is through letting go. Is this comes with corrections and healing. Analogy of this healing of which is still perception, but it's something that's restores some kind of life. I mean, it's literally feels like you've been healed, which reveals the pure formless awareness.
Yeah. So it's still within the domain of perception. It's still working in perception and in the world of time and space, in this matrix, but that's where they need it. You don't need miracles in heaven. If someone says, oh, there's miracles in heaven, they're getting level confused. There's no miracles in heaven. Miracles belong in this world as the signposts out of this world, or the healing rain as another analogy, that help you to sustain yourself while you're effectively in a desert. And they keep you alive, they give you hope, they keep you going on the journey of awakening to ultimately free yourself from the desert or from the prison. Okay, so that leads us really nicely into today's lesson. Should we jump into that? It's just 2 paragraphs. So this is lesson 345. So yeah, Elaine, if you can read the original, Kim the alternative.
I offer only miracles today, for I would have them returned to me.
I offer only corrections today, for I want the blessings these bring me.
Yeah, so the alternative is quite different. The miracles corrections, I think, is really, really a helpful reinterpretation. A lot of people, as I said, originally don't understand what a miracle is, and they misperceive, like a lot of the terms. They don't really understand it. They misperceive it. They perceive it through a traditional Christian lens only. This is saying very clearly, okay, it's a correction of your mind, and then it can bring blessings in terms of greater love and peace and joy, as well as blessings that show up in the external world of form as maybe some miraculous synchronicity. Someone gives you something, someone does something kind, you get some money, you get something unexpected. It shows you that that correction has now brought a blessing and was genuine. Okay, so we go straight into the prayer. Usually it's second, but today it's first. So you can read that sentence by sentence. One of you read the original, the other alternative.
Father, I wake today with miracles, correcting my perceptions of all things.
My source, a correction reflects your gifts to me. Your extension, sorry.
And so begins the day I share with you, as I will share eternity, for time has stepped aside today.
And everyone I give returns to me, reminding me the law of love is universal.
I do not seek things of time, and so I will not look upon them.
You know what? I'm just looking at this. No, this is wrong. What's going on here? We've got. I'm going. This isn't right, is it? It's like 346,
Yeah.
345. Like, hang on. How did that happen? Evidently an error. That second one's okay. First one isn't. Okay, never mind. We'll fix it. Okay, I'm just going. Hang on. Well, what's going on here? So just give me a moment. Obviously a mistake. Sometimes they do happen.
Mm.
3:45 is what we want. Right, so there we go. Actually, I wonder if we did that. Yeah, it's probably better actually. There we go. Okay, now it should start again.
Yeah. Father, a miracle reflects your gift to me.
My source, a correction reflects your gifts to me, your extension.
And everyone I give returns to me, reminding me the law of love is universal.
And everyone I give returns to me, reminding me the law of love is universal.
Even here it takes a form which can...
Number 2, then?
Sorry, yes. In everyone I give returns to me, reminding me the law of love is universal.
Number 3.
Well, it's in everyone I give returns to me, reminding me the law of love is universal.
Yeah, you've just done that, Kim. Even, number 3, even here.
Even here it takes form which can be recognized and seen to work.
Even in this world, it takes a form which I can recognize and understand works.
The miracles I give are given to me in just the form I need to help me with the problems I perceive.
The corrections I give are given back in just the form I need to help me with the problems I perceive I have.
Father in heaven, it is different for there are no needs.
My source, in the state of pure formless awareness, it is different, for there are no needs there.
Then let me give this gift alone today, which, born of true forgiveness, lights the way that I must travel to remember you.
Mm.
6, but here on earth.
But here on earth, corrections are closer to your gifts than any other gift that I can give.
Number 7, Ellen.
Then let me give this gift alone today, which, born of true forgiveness, lights the way that I must travel to remember you.
Number 7, Kim.
So help me give this gift alone today, which, arising from my true letting go, lights the way that I must journey to remember you. And from the top, my source, a correction reflects your gifts to me, your extension, and everyone I give returns to me, reminding me the law of love is universal. Even in this world, it takes a form which I can recognize and understand works. The corrections I give are given back to me in just the form I need to help me with the problems I perceive I have. My source, it is different in the state of pure formless awareness, for there are no needs there. But here on earth, corrections are closer to your gifts than any other gift that I can give. So help me give only this gift today, which, arising from my true letting go, lights the way that I must journey to remember you. So the correction, it reflects the gift that our source gives to us. it's like it's an experience that is reflects that love is universal, or at least love, we get to give love and receive love. It's done in a way that we can understand it in this form or in illusion. And it helps us to, help solve our problems. So that supports the form in the illusion. In the state of pure formless awareness, you don't really need the correction, because the state of pure formless awareness is all it is and ever shall be. While we're in this illusion, the perception or the correction of the perception is helpful, because it helps show that we're on the right track.
Yeah. So it's a classic. A lot of people get level confused. And they say, oh, well, there's no healing necessary. We're all home already. You've probably heard that from some spiritual teachers. And, well, no correction is necessary. All home already. Okay, well then, if we're all home already, why are we all still apparently here? Why does the world seemingly exist? Why is all the pain and suffering and sickness and death and drama still going on? Clearly, in our minds, it's not over. In our minds, the ego is still very much alive and kicking quite hard. So this is needed in an illusion. And so it's very important we understand that, in the dream, we need miracles, we need forgiveness, we need miracles to escape from the dream. This is the way out. Without that, there's no hope. We're lost here forever. So the course is very practical. He's saying, yeah, there is, ultimate truth and stuff, but let's not pretend that we're there yet. You've got work to do while you're here. You've got forgiveness to practice. You're going to bring in that eternal reality into your mind, and you're going to correct your perception systematically and progressively as you go, and more that awareness is going to rise, and you're going to start realizing more and more that is actually the truth that's always been there, that's eternal, through this process of letting go of all of your illusions. And that's a very, very important and necessary process while you're here. So to deny the process you've got to go through means that you're actually denying pure formless awareness and perfect love. The ego is very clever at doing that, and it'll go, oh, well, I'm being very spiritual and very clever because I can just say, well, that no healing is necessary, no miracles are necessary, I'm already home. But that means that I don't actually have to do the hard work of letting go of my ego. I can just pretend that I'm home and say I'm home and say all the right things, but actually in my mind the ego is very much still intact, and I'm not actually willing to go through the process of undoing it by practicing forgiveness and letting these miracles come, which is just another form of metaphysical ghosting over the truth. So I pretend I'm so spiritual and enlightened because I don't even need forgiveness anymore, but actually I'm just bypassing the process that I need to go through in order to awaken. Does that make sense? Elaine?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Elaine, if you can read that from our friend Kat, Offer Any Miracles Today, 5 simple ideas. It's quite good, actually, this one.
I offer only miracles today, for I would have them be returned to me. That giving is gain, not loss, is said in the Course's pages 100 ways, 100 times, and is emphasized throughout the text and the workbook. 5 simple ideas. 1. First, the prototype of all giving is God giving to us in heaven. There he freely and changelessly pours out all his love on us. 2. Second, the gift of the miracle is the closest thing on earth to God's heavenly gift. 3. Third, God giving to us in heaven obeys the law of love, whereby a gift not only blesses the receiver, but inexorably returns to the giver.
Inexorably, yeah, turns to the giver. Because it's really one awareness. You see why giving and receiving are really one, because there's actually really only one awareness going on. But in this world, it plays out like, oh, I give something and then I receive it. And are usually separated by time, and maybe there's seemingly separate people involved, but actually it's just one awareness being reflected in the giving and the receiving. Okay, then number 4.
Fourth, this is the most interesting part of the lesson. In my view, the miracle returns to us, not just in physiological form.
Psychological.
Oh, sorry, psychological form, but in a concrete form as well.
So this is what we've talked about. The witness to the corrections becomes a miracle in what we call a miracle in the external world. So their integral model again, it shows up in some way in our objective experience of the world to confirm that that change of mind was, a valid one and has actually done something. Okay, and then number 5.
Fifth, since we have such a great need to receive, including so many problems of our own that need solving, we should give only miracles today and no attack.
Yeah. So in other words, you should only correct your perception. Let go of any attack thoughts, and that's the miracle. When you give a miracle to someone, it means you let go of your misperceptions of that person. And those misperceptions involve an idea that they're separate, that they can attack you and you attack them, that you're separate from them. And notice how many times a day you might have those thoughts. Any thoughts of like, oh, well, screw you, whatever, that's an attack thought based on separation. So that's what needs forgiveness. That's what needs letting go. And then if we start doing that systematically, progressively, we do start to see things change in our lives. These sometimes very little things happen. Someone says something kind, someone helps you, some thing that you just couldn't anticipate happens to show you that you're blessed, that actually there is love in the world, that there is a force that cares about you and others. Okay, so yeah, five simple ideas. Just the last paragraph, peace to all seeking hearts. Today, so Kim, peace to, if you can read the original, and Lane read the alternative.
Peace to all seeking hearts today.
And then Elaine?
Peace to all seeking hearts today.
The light has come to offer miracles to bless the tired world.
Pure formless awareness has come to offer corrections to bless the tired world.
Number 3.
It will find rest today, for we will offer what we have received.
It will find rest today, for I will offer what I have received.
From the top, Elaine?
Peace to all seeking hearts today. Pure formless awareness has come to offer corrections to bless the tired world. It will find rest today, for I will offer what I have received.
Yeah, so what's he saying there?
Well, it's just peace is all our inheritance, and any seeking hearts will receive it. It'll offer miracles to a very tired world, and that's where we'll find rest.
Yeah, and as I offer, then I receive these miracles. So the only way of experiencing the miracles is to offer them. In other words, change your mind. It's just various ways of saying the same thing. When you offer a miracle, you are letting go of a misperception. That's what offering a miracle means. I will offer what I've received. So idea is in every interaction to offer a miracle. The lesson is calling us. Maybe you can read that, Kim. If you can read that, last one, and then we can do a meditation if you want, or call it to close. And just read this slide, yeah.
Every interaction offer a miracle. This lesson calls us to a day in which in every interaction we offer a miracle. What is a miracle? A thought of forgiveness, an intent to love wrapped in a behavioral expression. This may not sound very lofty, but miracles are the earth's reflection of a heavenly law.
And there's a picture of someone comforting someone else. A description of that.
For instance, we sit down with a friend to help her with her problem. And then we come to work and find that a colleague has kindly taken some of our load from our inbox. Such things really happen. Therefore, we can freely extend to others and trusting that our own problems will disappear in ways that seem and are miraculous.
Yeah, so these are the kinds of things that can happen, synchronicities, you know. You give a miracle in one situation, then something else shows up in another. And somehow we know they're related, even though they're not causally related. There's no connection causally between your colleague and what you did with your friend. They don't even know each other. Colleague had no idea that you did that, but somehow this transmits, and then these things just miraculously show up. Carl Jung called this synchronicity, invented the word synchronicity to describe it. In the course, we call it a miracle or miraculous. Other teachings call it different things. Flow is another word for it. When you're in, I'm just going with the flow and everything's flowing. It's when these kinds of things happen and you go, wow, actually things are kind of flowing smoothly and easily, and I'm being helped, I'm being assisted. That's the idea of flow, is that things just feel like you're going with the flow rather than against it. And that's just another name for a miracle. So whatever you call it, miracle, synchronicity, flow. In Chinese, they call it wu wei. It's the same thing, all the same thing. Really, it's just acknowledging it when it happens, because that then allows you to learn the lesson. If you miss the miracle and you don't acknowledge it, then you've kind of missed the learning. The miracle hasn't really had its effect and done its job, because you missed out on what you could have learned from that. That's why it's important to acknowledge it and go, oh, okay, I see that, I've clocked that, thank you, I'm grateful for it, really useful, thank you, Holy Spirit, for showing me the signposts on the journey. Okay, I'm gonna carry on doing more of this, I'm gonna carry on letting go, I'm gonna carry on being kind and loving and so on, because I've just got a great confirmation that it works and that I'm on the right track. Okay, so that is the lesson. So we can carry on and do a meditation or call it to a close. It looks like Kim is falling asleep. Elaine, you said you wanted to go 20 minutes ago, so shall we call it?
Yeah, I'm going to drop off.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, John. Namaste.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Okay.
Good
Thanks
night.
for joining.
Night.
Yeah. Night.
Okay.
Namaste.
Night.
Next week,
Namaste.
should we do Tuesday or Wednesday?
Either or.
Kim?
I think maybe Tuesday.
Tuesday next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
I'll
Thanks, John.
confirm that next week with you.
Okay. Namaste.
Good night.
Okay. Good night.
Bye.
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 Bye. Namaste.
Namaste.
All right, so that is a wrap for today. If you enjoyed that session, why not subscribe to the channel? At the moment I'm live streaming every week, but that's going to increase in March when we start the new cycle of the course, Art of Letting Go course and program. If you're interested in finding out more about that, go to lifebuild.com. You can see that in the background, my virtual screen, or there's a link below in the comments box below this YouTube video that you can click or tap. Go to lifepool.com. You can sign up to the Telegram group that is there, that will allow you to receive a daily quote and some other good stuff. Some of the things I showed you a sort of comment on the quote, and a daily lesson from A Course in Miracles, and a short breath break or meditation to help you practice the lesson, as well as invitations to join these live sessions. And I'll also let you know about the next Art of Letting Go Masterclass, which I'm running free in February, 17th of February, in the evening, so that you can learn more about the Art of Letting Go course and program, and how they can potentially help you to free your mind of all suffering, to embrace miracles, to live a much better life. So check it out, lifepool.com, sign up to the channel, and I hope to see you on the inside of the Telegram group, or maybe one of these sessions. Thanks for watching or listening, and namaste, which means the miraculous self in me acknowledges and honors that same miraculous self in you. I'm wishing you much love, peace, and many miracles.